Hi everybody, I'm Corinne Blackstone and welcome to my craft room. I'm so happy to have you here today. In today's tutorial, we're going to be talking a little bit more about the Wecreat Lumos portable laser. Before we get started, be sure that you're subscribed here on YouTube. That way you don't miss out on any of the fun, crafty content we have coming. Today's tutorial, I'm going to focus on things that you can make at a craft market or an event that is going to help you make some money with your laser. We're going to do a couple of different things like a leather patch, a dog or pet tag. You can make these for cats too. We've got a personalized Christmas ornament. This is a fun little cutting board that I got from Hobby Lobby. And then we're going to do a Christmas ornament. Now, I'll be honest with you, this one I messed up and I broke it. So if you notice it in the video right now that it's a little bit broken and that I totally just broke it worse by tapping it, that's on me. I didn't have the cut settings quite right, and that's okay. This was a tester anyways, and I wanted to show you how to test your products because you're going to want to test everything that you're going to make at your craft market before you go. That way you know what your settings are going to be. And I find it really easy to like make a little notebook that says like, okay, Christmas ornament settings are this cutting board settings are this, leather patch settings are this, whatever you may be making. And what's really cool is the options are endless for what you can make. Passport covers, you can do custom earrings, you can do custom jewelry. So there's so much that you can do with this. And if making money with your laser is something that you're interested in, I really love this little portable one because people love a personalized item and they'll pay a little bit more for it if it's personalized right there on site. They don't have to wait for it. They don't have to go pick it up. They don't have to worry about shipping. You just say, okay, give me 15 minutes. I'll get this done for you. Come back and pick it up. They can go shop around at the other vendors and come get their personalized item. Now be sure to stay tuned to the end because I am going to give you a price breakdown of each item for what it would cost to make and then what I would sell them for so that you can see the profit margins on each of the items that I made. And I'll give you some other examples as well with stuff that we didn't make, but I think will give you some inspiration as to what you can make at your craft market. So without further ado, let's get started.
Here in our Wecreat software, we're going to make this ornament. Now, these are amazing to sell at craft shows, especially if you personalize. But I'm first just going to show you how to do this basswood one. Now, for this image, I'm going to go ahead and add an SVG. I'm just going to drag and drop it from my folder, and you can drag and drop that into your software. Now, obviously, my design is pretty big, which, of course, we don't want. So I'm going to go ahead and just use this little sizing here, and I'm just going to size it down to 3 inches for now, and I can kind of adjust it with the image on the screen. So I'm just going to adjust this a little bit so that it's even with my circular design and kind of where I want it to be. I think that's pretty good. Now, like I said, this one is just to show you kind of how to make something, but these would be a great option for your markets. They're super quick, super easy. So what I want to do right here, I have the 3mm basswood chosen, but for my thickness, I actually need to change this to 0.1 because these are very, very thin. You want to make sure that you have your blue light selected, and then you can hit start as long as you've refreshed, auto-focused all the stuff. I already did all that. Now it's going to tell me that the device is moving and refreshing because it'll do that on its own. So give it just a second to do that process. Now, once it's done that, I make sure, again, just that the blue light's selected, I have the correct thickness selected, and then I can hit start here, and it will send it to the laser to process, which you'll see right here is its processing status. Now, this says it's going to take about 8 minutes, which is not bad. This design is pretty detailed, but I wanted to show you kind of a detailed one so that you could see what that will look like. Once you're done with checking all that, you can hit send, and that'll actually send it over to your laser, where we're going to hit the little top button to go. Make sure you have your shield closed.
Over here at the laser, we're going to make sure we close our shield, which is the orange door, and then I'm going to hit the button on the top of the handle and it's going to start going. Now it's really important that you do not walk away from your laser when it is doing any sort of work. Fires can happen in a blink of an eye, so you want to make sure that you're always safe. I do have a fire extinguisher on the side, as well as a fire blanket. I also have my machine vented out my window for safety's sake. I'm going to go ahead and let you watch this engrave, and we'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Now I am gonna let this sit for a few moments just to make sure that all of that smoke and like haze gets out of here, but it does such a good job of that. Now keep in mind, if you are at an outdoor craft show, you may not really actually even need the type of venting that I have. You may just be able to leave the vent hose off. But if you're in like a tent, the vent hose might be a great idea to kind of shove out the back of your tent just to keep some of that smell away. Also, think of your neighbors when you're doing this because they don't want to have to smell all the laser gunk either. So being able to have some sort of venting is always a bonus. Now that it's kind of done, I'm going to open this up and show you what this looks like. Look at how pretty that is. So easy, so good. It came out so nice. So next ones I'm going to show you with a stopwatch because I did mean to do that and I totally forgot to add the stopwatch.
Now this next one's really fun, so I'm going to go ahead and click refresh, and that is going to refresh the screen so that I can see the blank that I've placed down on my laser. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this SVG because we're not using that. We're going to be using this little dog tag, and dog tags are such a great seller. People will spend money on their pets. So you can really do whatever you want with this, but I like to have a few like pre-made texts available, or if they just want the name of their animal and then the phone number, that's super easy. So to add text, click this text box and then click anywhere on your screen. It's going to bring up the default hello, and then you can just add the animal's name. So we'll say this one's name is Raven. It's actually my cat's name. Now you can change your text to whatever font you want, but first thing I like to do is I'm going to size this down a little bit more just so that I can see what it's going to look like on my tag, because that's super important when you choose a font. Now if you're doing this for a event, I would recommend only offering a few fonts. The other trick is to turn it to fill engrave so that you can see it a lot better when you're looking at your fonts. Now I like to look at my system fonts, and if I'm doing a dog tag, I really will only offer really easy to read fonts because you want the dog or the cat or whatever animal it may be to be able to get back to their owner really easily and have that information easily read. Now with my fonts here, I have a bunch of different system fonts that I can use, but like I said, I do really prefer to use easy to read fonts. So I'm going to choose things that are a little thicker and a little more plain. Arial is always a good choice, but you can also offer some better looking fonts that maybe have a little more style to them. That way, if you have somebody who wants something a little bit different, you can still do that. But again, with a pet tag, I do like to make sure that it is easy to read. So let me find a font to choose and I'll show you what our next steps are. So this one I like to use, I cannot pronounce it, do not ask me to, but this one's really good because it's nice and thick. Now this right here is a little bit large, so I do want to size it down just a little bit. I want to make sure that it fully fits on the tag. Now my tag is skewed a little sideways, so I just want to make sure that I adjust the curve and like the angle so that it looks nice on the tag. The next thing that I want to do, just because I like to set this up all at once, that way I'm not like worrying about doing anything else, is I'm going to do Control C and Control V for this text, and I'm going to put this over to the side. This right here will likely be the phone number for your person whose pet this is. So I'm going to put 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 7. I have no idea. Don't call that number. I don't think it's really a number. But I like to have this, and I'll just stick it over to the side. You want it off of this screen completely, and then just to make life easy, I do choose ignore for processing, and I just do everything at once. That way the customer can go shop. They can get everything they need to get while you're doing this, and this will go really quickly. Now, you need to select your material, and you're going to come over here. Now, I do recommend doing this with the red light, which is your IR laser. I'm going to click on the material setting, and you're going to see we have some different options for our metals here. Titanium alloy, aluminum, copper. I find that aluminum is the best choice for these. These are aluminum tags. And then I go ahead and I'm going to click Start. That's going to, again, send that over to the laser to tell it to get ready. I'll get the stopwatch set up for you and show you this engraving.
We're ready to start engraving our design. So I'm going to put the hood down. I'm going to put the stopwatch right here. Hopefully it'll sit nicely. It might not. I'm trying to get it so you guys can see it. There we go. And then I'm going to hit the start button and the start button on the laser as much as the same time as I can. Simple as that. It's done. It was done in about 25 seconds, so that was pretty quick. Now we do need to do the back side of this, so you're gonna lift up your design or your hood, and then I want you to flip your laser over and then just get that lined up best you can. I try to keep it straight with the dots, but like it doesn't always keep straight. I'm gonna go back over and fix the settings on the computer and show you that part.
Once we've done the name, you can go ahead and either delete that or just move it over to the side. Now you do want to refresh again because you want to make sure that you get the setting of where your tag is. Since we did move it, it'll move on your screen once you've refreshed, because that'll help you line up where your phone number is going to go. Now, as you can see, it did move on screen. I'm going to pull this in and I'm going to turn off the ignore for processing. Now, obviously, I need to kind of angle this again, and I need to size this down so that it fits within the spacing of our tag. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to actually scale this a little differently just because I want the phone number to be a little bigger, and I don't mind that this phone number is going to be stretched out a little bit. I want it to be able to be read by whoever finds this pet. So I'm going to go ahead and just make sure that's pretty darn even. Now, again, from here, all you have to simply do is click start because you've already got your material set from the other side of your design. Once everything's over here, it's not perfect, but it's fine. This says it's going to take about 32 seconds. I'm going to click start, take you over to the laser, and I'll do the stopwatch again.
We're gonna drop the hood again, and I'm gonna again try to do the stopwatch and the start button at the same time, or at least as close to it as I can. And now it's gonna do the phone number. That took about 30 seconds to do, so we'll go ahead and take this again out, and I'll show you what this looks like all finished. Here's the phone number side, super easy to read, really fun and simple, and then the name side, also very easy to read, will help your pet get home. And these are so easy and quick to do. These are such a good moneymaker, and you saw that I did this in about total with design, maybe 3 minutes. So these are going to be a great item. People will spend money on their pets, especially if it's to keep their pets safe. But you can also do ones that have like fun sayings on them and then put the name and the phone number on the backside as well.
Our next is going to be a leather patch. Now, please ignore the line on this. I did do a little bit of testing, but I don't want to waste my leather patch just to show you guys how to do this. So just pretend the line does not exist. What you'll do is you can add your SVG or your text or whatever you want to your screen. I'm going to drag and drop mine over into the screen here. Now, obviously, it comes in really big, so up here at the top, I'm just going to go ahead and change the width to 3 inches, and that'll just make it so I can adjust it easier to fit on to my patch. Now, I do always want to make sure that my scale is locked so that when I change the sizing on this, it will, in fact, just change the entire scale. Now, I'll try to kind of hide that line, but it's okay if I can't. I'm not really super concerned about it. Like I said, I just did a little tester just to make sure I had a good setting for this. Now, I am going to be using the blue light on this, and I'm going to go to my materials, and I want to go to leather. And there's a lot of choices for leather. You've got like horse leather, black leather, faux leather, all the different leathers. So many to choose from. But the one that we're using is a leather PVC, so I'm going to choose that one. And for this thickness, 2 should be fine. You can reduce it a little bit if you want to, but you really don't need to. Then all I simply have to do is click start. Now these should go pretty quickly. So what I'm going to do is send this over to my machine, and then we'll go ahead and use the laser.
Here at the laser, I'm going to drop the hood. I'm going to go ahead and set up our timer here. Can you guys see that? Not really. Let me see if I can angle it a little bit better. There we go. Okay, I'm going to hit start on the laser and start on the timer as close to together as I can. All right, I'm gonna let this clear out some of that gunk. I hate the smell of engraved leather, just not for me. But that took about 1:45 minutes, which is insanely fast. That says to me that this would be a great product for a craft show because it goes really quickly. Look how good that came out. So crisp, so clean, super simple, super quick, and it looks really good. Now, again, you can just sell this as a leather patch. You can offer them things they could put this on. So there's a lot of options to working with this. We're going to be doing this fun little cutting board, and this is just from Hobby Lobby. But I want you to note that when you use this one, putting it this way, it'll fit, but not well. So what I recommend for something like this is you're gonna actually do it sideways because that will fit onto the plate better. So I just get it lined up onto the plate, and then it doesn't matter if this handle's off, I'm not engraving that. And then I just make sure that I can close the hood. You wanna make sure you can close the hood for a lot of reasons. One, to protect your eyes from the laser, but two, to also protect yourself from any of the gunk that comes off of it and the laser beam itself. Now I do need to adjust the focus on this one. You want your red and your blue lights to be lined up. Now I know on the screen you cannot see those. The camera does not pick up that light source. So you can just use this dial on the back and you just get those nice and lined up so that they're centered on each other. And that way when it goes to engrave this, it will engrave it at the right height.
I want to show you the cutting board, so I'm going to refresh this, and it's always going to show this, and I don't want to turn this off just in case I need to show this in a video, but this is just to tell you to autofocus it or to focus it manually, which I prefer to manually do it because that cutting board is so much thicker, and I showed you that on the video. Now it's going to refresh so that I can see my cutting board design, and it'll take a second to do that. And now you'll see that I have my cutting board, and this is the area we're going to use. I'm going to go ahead and delete this SVG because we're not going to be using this one, but we're going to bring in a different one. For this one, I want to use this one called For Clarkson Family, and we're going to edit this one to work with the design that we want it to say. Now, obviously, it's going to open really big, so I'm going to go ahead and size this down just to 4 inches, just so I can see it better. And I'm going to turn it, so don't worry. But you could do it sideways if you wanted to. It would be fine. It's just a matter of how you want the design to be displayed. Now, what's fun about this one is if you click each of these letters, you can actually just delete them. I don't want that pen tool. Sometimes that comes up if you double click them, and I hate it. It's annoying. Just select anything else on the screen and that'll go away. So I want to delete all of the letters for the Clarkson word here. So I just want to get rid of Clarkson, and then I want to get rid of established, just the 1995, because I'm going to put my own text in. So I'm going to add text. And for this one, we're going to add our last name. So we're going to use the Blackstone. Now, again, I accidentally clicked somewhere I wasn't supposed to, right? So that happens. It's no big deal. Just click finish editing and it'll go away. I'm going to move this a little bit just so I can double click on it and change this to Blackstone. And I always, again, like to try to use a font that's easy to read for these. So use whatever font you want. It's up to you. But I also like to change it to fill engrave so that I can see it better. Now I'm going to adjust this one a little bit, and I don't mind that I'm messing with the scale, but you can see our name is pretty long, so I want to use a little bit of a thinner font. Now I will say my system fonts take a while to come up on the Wecreat software, so if yours take a little while, just kind of let it sit. Once my system fonts come up, I can choose whatever font I want, but I do want to keep it fairly simple since the rest of the fonts are script fonts. So when doing this, again, you can change out any of the fonts that you want to. Just make it kind of how you want. Now I want to click the font here and I want to make sure that this lock is closed. And now I'm going to go ahead and resize this so that it fits within this area. And I just want to get it set to where I want it. I think I want it a little bit smaller, but not a ton. Now, if I want to stretch it out a little bit, I can. I can just click the little unlock button again. And this time I can use that to stretch this out. So if I want it to be a little bit longer, that way it takes up a little bit more of the space. I think that looks pretty good, so we'll go with that. And the next thing I'm going to do is add the 2000, I don't know, we'll do 2017 for that. I think that will be fine. So I'm going to get my text box, and sometimes this thing's kind of a pain and it wants to like do what it wants, but I'm going to try to, there we go, to change this to 2017. Now again, I want to change this to fill engrave. I'm just going to keep it the same font as the Blackstone. And then for this, I want to lock the scale. And then I'm going to size it down to fit within that little area here with the established. And I just want to get it lined up. Now, again, this part is probably the part that will take you the longest when you are doing like a custom design. Now, what I want to do before I do anything else is I'm going to select my entire design here. And I'm going to go up to merge, and I want to merge the graphic shapes. That's going to make this all one space. Now, why did it change that font? I don't know. Does it have a mind of its own sometimes? Sure do. I'm fine with it. Whatever. If it bothers you, change it. You can hit undo and it will change this back. So I can just change the font to something, I don't know, just whatever. It just needs to be like a simpler font. That's fine. Let's just change that font a little bit and then we won't have to deal with it. It's fine. But what I'm going to do now, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and select everything. I'm going to merge the graphic shapes, and that's going to make it all one piece for the software. So it's just a little easy for it to figure out what it wants to do. Now, again, we are going to size this down a little bit, and you want to make sure you have your lock selected and closed. And then for this, I do need to rotate it, but what's easy about this one, I can just rotate it using the rotate option to get it sideways where I want it. And once I'm happy with where I have it lined up, again, line it up where you think is right. It's fine. You will figure it out. It will not be that hard to line this up. It's a lot easier when you're doing it yourself. So once I've selected that, I want to go over here and find my material. And for this, I'm going to be using wood. And I do have kind of an idea of what kind of wood it is, but you don't always know. So if you don't always know, do some tests before you select the design, before you select what you want to do. So for this one, it's definitely not a basswood. It's more of a bamboo, which you can see is not any of these options. But I have tested a lot of different things, and the ash plywood works pretty good, and so does birch plywood. So I'm going to choose the birch plywood. Now for this one, it is really, really thick. So I am going to change the thickness up just a little bit to 7. And then for here, it should be good to go. Now I'm going to go ahead and click the start button. It's going to move, refresh, do all the things. Sometimes it does refresh, sometimes it doesn't. I'm not sure why, but it doesn't do it on all of my designs. But we'll give it a second just to make sure that everything looks good. You always want to just double check your placement after your machine refreshes, just to make sure that nothing moved. Shouldn't have since we didn't touch it, but I always just like to double check. Then all I have to do is click start. Now again, it will process into the machine. Now this one is going to take a little bit longer because it is a larger design. So something like this is something you'll charge a little bit more for because it takes longer to do, but it's so cute and so worth it. I'm going to send this over to the printer. I will get the stopwatch going and we can watch this work.
Again, closing the hood, getting that stopwatch ready for you guys. I know it kind of falls. I don't want it to like block the view of it moving, but it kind of falls when I put it here. So I'm going to see if I can get it to maybe I can use the little cutter thingy to hold it up. I don't know. That might work. Can you see it? Yeah. Okay, you can see it. We'll see if that holds. But I'm going to go ahead and try to start them at the same time. Let's take it out and see how it looks. This came out so nice. Look at that. So good. And took about 11 minutes, so not terribly long. I'm going to be doing a ball ornament without using a rotary tool because I don't want to have to change out the tool while I'm at a craft event. So what I'm doing is using the little stopper pieces to help me hold that ball ornament in place. So I'm just getting these screwed down to the plate, and then I'm going to use those to keep the ball in place so that it doesn't fall forward or fall around. Now you may need to kind of adjust where you have this, adjust the way you're holding it, but I've got it so that the little tip of the ball is being held by those little plates.
This one is going to be a little bit of a test. I've not done this before, but I wanted to show you it. So what I'm going to do is I'm first going to add the design. I'm going to do this baby's first Christmas design. Now I can add a name to this if I want to. I'm just not going to because of what we're doing. We're just testing this, but you can definitely add like a name or whatever you need to this. And I just need to make this about 3 inches. So I need to be able to obviously size this down to fit on to our ornament. Now, when you're doing a round ornament, you need to keep in mind that it is round. So you'll want to make this a little bit smaller than you probably think it should be so that it fits on the ornament. And also keeping in mind that this section of the ornament is a little further down than the bottom section. So you'll want to keep that in mind when you're doing this as well. Now, as for materials, let's go see what our options are. We've got like leather, paper, leaf, plastic, fabric, metal, stone ceramic, others, and customization. So this one is where you can kind of add all the different like items you want. Fabric, definitely not really a fabric, and it's not necessarily a plastic, but the plastic might be what we're looking for. So this right here has a scratch acrylic red white, or we have just acrylic red. So those are definitely options that we could potentially use. But I know that with my other laser, I did do some testing on a blue ornament, and I know that we used the acrylic setting on that as well. So I think what we'll try is the acrylic red. Now these are technically acrylic-ish. I would call them glass, but they're like a very thin glass. So if this breaks, such is life. But this is something I wanted to show you just so you could kind of see how we test some things before we go to a show. But people spend money on their kids, so this is a great way to test that out. So again, I'm going to hit the start. We're going to be using the blue light laser on this, and I'm just going to kind of look at it here, make sure it looks okay. I think it looks fine. I'm going to send this over to the laser. I'm not going to time this one because this one I really want to watch like a hawk.
I wanted to show you the testing process as well for some things that we might use at a craft show, and these types of ornaments are so popular. So I'm going to close this hood. Now it might make it a little difficult to see because that bulb is red. Now this is one of those items that I'm going to watch very, very carefully and really keep my finger on the stop button if I need to stop it right away. So far it seems like it's doing okay. I can't totally tell how well it's engraving, but it's not breaking the ball. It's not catching on fire. And it seems to be doing okay. So this is that acrylic red setting. Now this says it's going to take about 2 minutes, so I'm going to let it go and we'll see how it does. So I think it did really good until the end. I think that pacifier might have ruined it, but that's okay because now we know better and we can always just take that part of the design off. It really doesn't need to be there anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and open this, and we have a pretty big spot, but honestly, it didn't go through it. I'm going to get you guys some better lighting on this. I know it's hard to see this because the lighting in here is not great, but this right here, it's not cut through, but it just doesn't quite get the gist. And I do need to adjust where the design is sitting, but all in all, it worked really well. It didn't go through the back or anything. It just looks pretty darn good. But again, you'll just need to adjust like where you have this sitting on the bulb. But this does work. It's super fun and honestly pretty easy. Let's break down our price to give you some ideas. So I got a 6-pack of ornaments for $2.49, making them 42 cents each. Takes about 5 minutes to make these, which is $1.50 of my time, and you always want to charge for some wear and tear on your machine. Total cost to make was $2.92, and you can sell these for about $6, but price whatever you want. So your profit's about $3.08. Now again, keep in mind that wear and tear on the machine is also covering your electricity and things like that. Now, these were pretty inexpensive. I got a 20 pack. They're 30 cents a piece. These take like zero time at all. The total cost is about $2.80. And these you can charge quite a bit more. So I sell these for about $7, which would be a $4.20 profit, which seems like the wrong math, but maybe it's not. But these ones are really good too. I'm going to show you two breakdowns with this, just the patch and the hat. So these are about 28 cents each, takes about 6 minutes to make. My total cost is about $4.28. And you can really charge whatever you want for these, but $8 seems like a fair price to me. So your profit is $3.72. Now this next one is with the hat. So my hats are a little bit pricey. You could probably find cheaper hats, but these were hats I got from Shirt Space. You can definitely get less expensive ones. I got the really like nice ones. So total cost is $15.20. You could probably sell these for about $20. So you're getting about $4.80 in profit when you're making these. You always want to think about your profit margins when you're deciding what you want to make for your craft fairs. This little cutting board wood design was pretty inexpensive at Hobby Lobby. Now keep in mind that I am using their non-sale prices, but I actually got this 40% off. So I actually have a higher profit margin, but I always want to just give you guys like the regular price and honestly everything I got on sale. So by buying things on sale, you can definitely get a much higher profit. So I did not pay $10 for these bulbs. I probably only paid $5, making them only 40 cents a piece. So the total cost for these is $3.30, not on sale. You can usually sell these for about $10. So you're getting a really high profit margin on these, and you might be able to sell them a little bit higher. Now, I think you can make so many different things for your craft markets. There are millions and millions of blanks out there that would work with your machine. Just remember, if you're going to offer a new blank, definitely do some tests before you head out to your show, and keep a notebook that has the information about those different settings right available to you. That way you can really work quickly and efficiently. Making money with your laser can be super fun and honestly super easy. And having a portable laser can really open up a huge world of options for you, especially at a craft market. Now, if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below. I'll link everything that I used in this video down below for you as well, in case you want to grab anything, have fun with trying out some stuff, or making some stuff for your craft fair. Let me know what you would like to make for a craft fair using a laser, whether you have one or not. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and as always, happy crafting.